One love and blessings from Jamaica. This is day 3 of KingstOOn 2021 Animation Conference and Film Festival, the virtual edition. I go by Caleb. You won't believe what we have in store for you today. My co-host Debbie will get us started.
Thank you so much, Caleb. You are absolutely right. Now, everybody fancies themselves a little bit of a content creator, right? But data-driven content creation, no, that's a different ball game. Well, animation studios are changing how they produce animation in this real-time production environment. This session will cover the latest use of state-of-the-art virtual production using hybrid magnetic optical motion capture while simplifying the whole production process. Now, right here from KingstOOn in sunny Jamaica, we're giving you Olivier Lelardu, Senior Vice President, Animation and Associate Producer, to give us his visionary ideas on creating data-driven content. But before we give you Olivier, we just want to remind you that the live chat feature is active and you can ask all the questions that you may have right there. Now, over to you, Olivier.
Hello, I'm very happy to be with you today. I'd like to thank you, the KingstOOn team, for arranging this event, which I hope will prove fruitful for you as for me. I'm Olivier Lelardu from Cybergroup Studios, and I will talk a little bit about real-time technologies and data-driven content. So I like to start a little bit about me and about Cybergroup Studios, what we are doing. So I'm a producer. I'm based in Paris, in France. I co-found Cybergroup Studio with a bunch of people from Disney, as Pierre Sisman or Dominique Bourse. More than 16 years ago, we have a studio in Paris with more or less 120 people, mixing artists, technical people. We have a full pre-production studio and a post-production studio there, but also, I will tell you more about that, other kind of profile and skills, like for the distribution and the merchandising segment of our business. We have a studio in north of France, based in Roubaix, it's the name of the city, dedicated to post-production and real-time animation. I will tell you more about that. And finally, we have an office in LA for creative purpose and business purposes in North America and China. So I'm a producer and I'm also a director. I actually am directing Gigantosaurus season 2 and 3 for Disney, but many other channels too, like Netflix for the season 1, and all the I have to say big broadcaster in Europe, public broadcaster in Europe, like France Television in France, RAI in Italy, and so on. It's a big IP. At Cybergroup, we are not exactly only producing series. We are trying to produce and create kids brand, meaning all the creation have to be global for the world, and also have to be driven, have to be business driven in a way that, in fact, the series is the heart of the brand, of the kid brand, meaning Gigantosaurus, for instance, and the other parts are merchandising, licensing, the gaming, and so on. So it's animation and the studio. We are producing the heart of our brands, which are the series and the IPs. But then we are expanding all the universe we are creating to all different aspects of the brand in terms of business. So that's very important to start from here, and you will understand why we are moving to real-time animation from that perspective. So I'm directing this series. I direct more than 800 episodes of different series in my career. For instance, Zoo, Little Zebra for Disney, and Zorro, the hero that everyone knows. And I'm at the head of the studio and at the head of the technology, in fact, and the innovation at Cybergroup. So Cybergroup, it's a company with 100 people in Paris, 40 people in north of France, and more or less 10 people in America. we are developing kids brands, as you know, and you know, when we are producing TV series, high-end quality for big podcaster, big platforms, it's very expensive. So in fact, when you have to produce content for the big platform, the big channels, everyone, at the top of the game in our industry, and at the same time, you have to exist on the social networks, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere. You need to think outside the box in the way you are making all of that kind of content. So with Gigantosaurus, it was exactly that case, because we had other big success at Cybergroup Studios in the past years. It was Zoo, for instance, the Little Zebra. We had a lot of business around that IP, but it was more or less 5 or 4 years ago. And at that time, the real-time animation and YouTube and all that kind of alternative platforms was not that strong as today. And so today with Gigantosaurus, we immediately had to manage that success in this period of the time. Meaning with Gigantosaurus at the top, with top ratings in the US and the rest of the world, the second season in production, the third season in production, a feature films in the process of development, a video game also released last year on Xbox, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, a second game actually in development. We had to think about how to exist outside the TV screens in order to propose to the audience a way to live the Gigantosaurus universe and to have fun with outside the TV screen. So I started to work on budget and stories in order to produce small content and funny content aside the main stories and the main episode, based on the characters and the stories we had on screen. And we quickly realized that it was kind of, it was impossible to produce in the same way who was producing the series for YouTube, for instance, or for Facebook or for Instagram. So we had to look at the kind of technology or the kind of creative approach permitting ourselves to do that. And as I'm a big game fan, I'm playing video games since a long time, and I was always amazed by the quality of the games recently that I can play with. When I see the level of details on the recent games at 60 or 90 frames per second compared to our technology in the animation industry, which is I have to say a little bit more complicated and slow and easy to manage. I had the idea to adopt the technology and the way the people was working in the video game applied to the animation. So I started to studying the technologies available on the market. Since 2 years, I saw the Unity engine absolutely visible on the festival space or in a different animation event. I studying the sales technologies, but at the end I end up with Unreal for many reasons. First of all, because it was extremely aggressive in terms of communication, and beyond the communication, when I started to look at the software and the approach, the technical approach, and the ways it was helping the people in order to use the software and to learn the software, I decided to move forward with Unreal Engine. And then there is the mega grants opportunity, which is, I will tell you a little bit more about that later on, which is an absolute, it's a beautiful opportunity for all the creators and even studios in the world. So I started to work with Unreal Engine, and we discovered that, in fact, it's a total different universe. Working with Maya or 3ds Max, it's something that we know very well. It's our language since more than 20 years. And then we had to rethink, to restart our job. We had to reinvent ourselves, because that kind of software have a total different approach in terms of wording. First of all, the naming convention in terms of techniques is different than from Maya to Unreal, or for the traditional animation process and the gaming industry. So we had to think the way the technician in the gaming industry are thinking too. So it took a few months, a few weeks, and after the learning curve at a good level, we understood that it's absolutely amazing, and it's absolutely, I have to say, the only way to produce animation today and in the future. Why? Because actually you can produce highly detailed image at 60 or 90 frames per second in real time, in fact, easily with that kind of technologies, which is absolutely impossible in with the classic pipeline. And on top of that, you can produce in 4K or 8K very easily, which is absolutely painful in the classical pipeline and processes. So we started to learn by ourselves. We was connecting with the Epic Games people, and which was very helpful. And we discovered the mega grants. And the mega grants, it's very, very big. You know, it's a big grant. It's $100 million that Epic Games are giving to the people who have great projects in terms of way to use Unreal Engine, and also any other kind of innovative approach or technology that they like. So we decided to apply this to the mega grants using the Gigantosaurus IP series. So we always had a producer approach in terms of projects. It was important for us to don't stay too much technical. Of course, the project was technical. It was a technical journey, switching from a classical and traditional pipeline to a video game pipeline. It's something. It's a journey, but always with one objective. It's permitting our characters or creation to live on all the platforms that exist today. So from Disney Plus, Netflix, the public broadcasters, to YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, even Switch. So so we applied to the mega grants, and we discovered that the mega grants, it's something. It's not only okay. You have a good project. You need eventually good content and the use of Unreal. It's not only this. It's also a philosophy. They really focus on the way you share. In fact, the content and the skills that you can develop inside the Unreal and the mega grants ecosystem. So everything has to be open source. So when you are developing new softwares, new tools, you need to put it in a open source environment, which is a great thing, because then it started that way is perfect to create a community around your developments, and then you discover that it's the fastest way today to develop cutting edge technologies. And also the educational aspect of the project is very important. So educational open source, it's all about sharing. So we had agreements with schools in order to share and transmit everything we learned about Unreal and all the research we did in terms of real-time animation.
Oh.
So it is this is it's absolutely amazing. We apply for the maximum of the grants, and we get it, and plus the support of the team at Epic Games and Unreal. So that way makes this experience absolutely amazing, because it was certainly funded, and plus a real expertise that Epic Games put on board for project. The project is called Giganto Club. It's a kind of series promoting the main series, and the main series is on screen on Disney Plus actually, and Disney Junior in the US. And this series is a club of Dinos fan that they are talking about the episodes actually on air the current week or the past weeks, and they are talking about, you know, little stories happening in the show, little stories about the characters. Eventually also we have games about dinos fact and science fact and all that kind of stuff that we are not really into in the main series. In fact, the main series is about characters, dinos, living adventures and having beautiful journey in a world, in the dinos world. It's not about science or dinos fact or anything. That club is a little bit about that. So it's a little bit educational. It's of course, it's also for promoting the main series and the characters. It's a fan club, but it's also educational. We learn stuff and we have fun with Dinos Fact. Of course, we wanted to produce it in a different way. So on top of the Unreal Engine, we used the motion capture system. The motion capture system was absolutely, for me, it was a little bit, I had many concerns about the motion capture because of for me, it was a very heavy technology, very complex, very expensive, and with a naturalistic result that I didn't really want for my dinos. So we started to study the different kind of motion capture techniques available on the market, and we found the Xsense technology, which is the technology from Northern Europe. It's a full magnetic system versus full optical system. It's a suite with captors and trackers. You don't need cameras. You can capture movement and performances outside, inside. It's absolutely amazing. And we mix that with a strong control rig system inside Unreal, because actually you can animate directly in Unreal. Is what we do. We have animators working in Unreal like they used to work in Maya or 3ds Max. And we find a way to use the productivity of the motion capture. So it's the Xsense suites plus an helmet supporting an iPhone. The iPhone is capturing the face and transmitting all the curves to Unreal in order to move the faces. So we have that kind of real-time animation system, body plus face, largely used in Hollywood actually for virtual concerts, for instance, and everything plugged into Unreal. So in fact, it was we discovered that it's creatively it's amazing because we can really produce a lot of animation every day. We can react to what's happened in the world. In fact, every days, every weeks, because our talents or actors was absolutely available to shoot. You could capture a session every day very easily. And if something happened in the news, for instance, let's say we discovered a new dino, new fossil of dino in the world, we can talk about it in the next episode because 2 days later we can set up a session, we can capture the performance, talk about what's happened in the discovery, and then being on air the next week. So it's absolutely amazing. And the other thing in Unreal, absolutely powerful, it's that whatever the animator, the keyframe animator, or the motion capture actors, the performance, everything is real time inside the final backgrounds with the final lighting and all the environment. But in terms of immersion, it's not only immersion about the audience, because we talk about immersion for the audience a lot, not for the people who create the series. It's something totally new with that kind of technology, because when animators can animate the character with a final look, final rendering, with global illumination on, ray tracing on, all the environment, the plants, everything, the FX, everything on, is absolutely is inside the environment and the universe the character is. So we experience that, in fact, it's improving the animation, not only because the rigging or the control rig in Unreal is better than the software. I'm not saying that it's absolutely efficient, but the thing is that creatively the animators are more in immersion. So it's a really immersive experience working the animation that way. And of course, the people inside the streets for the motion capture performances, it's the same. They have an immediate feedback in Unreal, and they can really grab all the little details in the acting that they want to do, and they can reproduce it, and they can adjust on the fly their acting, looking at the results in Unreal immediately. So it's absolutely amazing, and that way we are able to produce up to 15 minutes of animation per day. So of course we have a little bit of animation cleaning or adjustment after the capture session, but it's no more than 2-3 days for 2 people. So it's absolutely efficient, very in fact, once you know how it works, it's very easy to set it up. And for a producer like us, it's the best way to make all characters living on all the platform, everywhere, for a price absolutely. I have to say the price is not the cost is not in the animation, and it's not anymore a cost per minute. It's just it's the price of the how many characters you want, how many environments you want, how many, what is the complexity of the environment you need. The cost is going there. It's very focused on that aspect. For the rest, it's concentrated in absolutely one step, the real time in Unreal. You do animation and compositing and cameras immediately at the same time, like in live action. So it's absolutely it's a new technology which is a total revolution for creators and producers like us. So I have a quick video I can share with you. You will see the results. If you can launch it, it's perfect. So, so that's the revolution. In fact, you know, it's producing content for ready for all the platforms. The other thing very important is we experience the mutualization of the assets, meaning when we produced Gigantosaurus, the series, the main series, we decided a few months after we started the pre-production of the series, we decided to create a video game. This video game is was done on Unreal in a studio in Spain, and we started to think about assets mutualization. So the series was done on 3ds Max, and we started to share ZBrush and models and textures, and it works well. In fact, we shared all the props and the characters. Of course, they had to change a little bit the rigging and the mesh. But at the end, the first demo of the game was done in 3 weeks instead of 2 months. So it was before we started the Unreal journey. So with a production entirely done in Unreal, in fact, immediately the characters are ready for games. We did a few tests. It works very well. You can turn your episode into VR episode very easily. You can turn all your assets and your environment in video games levels and environment very easily. So it's not only producing in a faster pace or in a better quality, because the quality is absolutely higher than on the normal pipeline. It's also absolutely transversal. It's 360 degrees. It's the asset done can be immediately reused and directly reused by a gaming studio or a VR studio. You can explore all the storytelling that you want. So it's the heart of our work now. It's the art of our development. We are developing the Northern studio in France that way. It will be a studio absolutely dedicated to real-time animation for that reason, because you can really mutualize everything. When you are a producer, when you create brand for the world, you need technologies permitting yourself to be more connected with the audience quickly and on all the medium that you can imagine. So I think it's something that you should explore. It's if you are a studio today or if you are an independent creator, you should explore it. I know that the big games people or the Unreal people are kind to help many different profile of people. It's I know that I met a lot of people who got a mega grants, and it was some people was independent developers or small studios, big studios. So if you have your chance, if you have a project that you are okay with open source and sharing all the ideas you develop, and eventually even if you are okay to participate to conferences or educational content, it's something that will help you to have a success with the mega grant. A last thing about the French ecosystem. The French ecosystem is absolutely amazing since more than 40 years now. That's why France is so big in animation. And we have support from our government since more than 40 years on all aspects of the business and the entertainment business and the animation business. In fact, animation is considered like a cultural thing in France. That's why the Minister of Culture is, we have a lot of subsidies from the Vice Minister of Culture. And actually, we have a special grant for the modernization of the pipeline for all studios in France. So even the government understood that if after 40 years of effort funding the animation industry, funding the cinema, the TV industry, they understood that the actual paradigm change in terms of technology and pipeline is important. It's not only it's not only content, it's not only creation, it's also the way you make this creation happening. And so the French government helped directly the producer with funds up to 40% per show. Also in terms of development, if you have an idea, you can you can have a lot of money from the French government and also media in Europe, and now also for the pipeline. And it's a lot of money. It's not, it's a planet alignment with the mega grants and all the things we can see now, all the acceleration in terms of industries, gathering all the technologies around them. So it's something we have a lot of luck in France for that. So mixing the private fund like the mega grants and other partners, plus the French support in terms of technology research and pipeline research and modernization, we have the money in order to do that kind of new production. So yeah, it's in fact the government think that the kind of investment is round table. You can, when you put €1 in a production or in a concept or in a studio, you earn years later 2 or 3 euros back. It's a fact. We know that since more than 40 years now. It's something absolutely real. The culture, the animation is something absolutely great financially for government. Also, the government helps the schools, all the schools, to create a good ecosystem in France in terms of artists and skills and animation cultures. Also, since more than 40 years, so that's helping the producers and the studios to hire the French talents and a lot of people there. So it's it's actually something a little bit. If you want to be successful in producing content for the kids and series, you need to see what countries are helping and really considering the creation, the animation as a business, but also a cultural thing. And you have to see where are the talents, where are the schools. You need to check all the new technologies, because producing animation today is not the same that 2 years or 3 years ago. the change paradigm change is done. It's absolutely done, and yeah, I think a lot of opportunities will happen. More opportunities will happen soon. The new technologies like the blockchain are absolutely interesting too, especially for the rights management and the distribution. Why not? So yeah, we are at the beginning of more changes, but in terms of animation pipeline, real time is the key for cost saving, more creativity, and more immersion for the artist, and at the end for the audience. So I'm happy to discuss with you guys. I think there is a Q&A session now, and I can't wait to answer to your question. Thank you.
have a startup animation studio or even an established one, this masterclass is for you. Our next set of presenters are two ladies who have an unmatched depth of knowledge and are well connected in the television production, distribution, and broadcast communities across international trade media. They have a respected and outstanding track record, having worked globally with producers, distributors, financiers, IP owners and creators, licensors, and broadcasters. The live chat feature is where you can ask these ladies all the questions that you may have. Now help me welcome Amy Norman and Janet Bamforth of the DDA Group with their presentation on marketing your studio.
Good morning, KingstOOn. Welcome to Promote and Market Your Animation Studio using the 360-degree approach. My name is Amy Norman, and this is my business partner, Janet Bamforth. We have over 25 years experience in international television corporate communications with extensive knowledge of the animation sector. There's a bit of background. We look after the publicity for the KidScreen Summit and the Children's Media Conference in the UK. And we also handle PR for some of the world's leading animation producers and distributors and studios. We have clients including WildBrain and Portfolio in Canada, Elam in France, One Animation and Omen Studios in Singapore, Cosmos Maya in India, Gutsy in Finland, and Novel and Daryl McQueen here in the UK. Sadly, we don't have any clients in Jamaica, but yes, that might all change.
Hi, just to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're going to cover in our presentation today. We're going to be looking at PR and marketing and how the two things differ. We will also take a look at social media and how to work with your agency to get the best from it, looking at all the different communication tools. In a nutshell, marketing and PR are so important to successfully grow any business. You know, how will new creative partners, buyers or commissioners find out about your studio unless you tell them? Marketing and PR are the most effective and efficient way to share your company's message.
So what is marketing? There's sometimes a little bit of confusion around the difference between PR and marketing. So we'll just go through each in turn. So if you think about marketing, it's like setting up your shop window. It showcases what you do with the intention of attracting your target market. You can't as easily get the attention of maybe creative partners, commissioners, buyers, or audiences unless they know about you and they know what you do. Marketing also helps you define your brand. So if you think about what you do and what you buy, what attracts you to that particular product or brand, and how did you find out about it? Often we may have seen adverts that impressed us, or there might have been a promotion that compelled us to find out more, or even just an image we wanted to like. But more than that, marketing helps sustain that connection so that your target audience may come back for more rather than go elsewhere. So in animation terms, this can make you a trusted supplier of a particular type of content. Commissioners or creative partners know what you do, and sustained marketing can ensure they check back to see what you're working on next and learn more about what defines you as a studio or maybe a producer.
So we're also looking at what PR is and the way it differs to marketing. As Amy was saying, marketing is very much more paid for media, whereas PR is earned media. While you can't exactly dictate what is said as you can with marketing, PR is effective as it delivers an independent validation of your company and work. Often you're covered by respected journalists, which adds gravitas to your message. A strong, strategically timed news story can achieve coverage across multiple outlets, reaching a global audience, highlighting the message that your business is successful. As an example, we recently announced the appointment of a senior executive at a renowned animation studio. She said that she felt like a rock star. She had so many positive messages of congratulations. And from that one press release, she's now had numerous really impressive international projects pitched her way.
So we've learned a little bit about the difference between PR and marketing, but just think of it sort of in a nutshell. We've learned how marketing is paid media and PR is earned media. If you think of it in terms of maybe owning a restaurant, marketing is potentially like building up a client base through advertising, flyers, or even just promoting your menu online. And PR is like inviting a respected restaurant reviewer to come and maybe sample your food and tell everybody how delicious it is. I think probably another main difference it's worth pointing out is the comparative reach of PR compared to marketing. Often, maybe one paid advert will just be one page in one magazine in a particular month with a targeted audience. But publicity often has further reach across multiple outlets. So if you have a news story, you can often spread that far and wide.
We thought it might be useful to just explain some of the differences and the different tools you can use for PR and marketing as we have on the slide here. As a brief overview, press releases, we use those to announce significant news at the company, whether it's a business deal, a new project, a show you're launching, and we would time that strategically at key points in the industry calendar. Editorial interviews is an ongoing way of profiling your company, even when there's no significant news to announce. Inclusion in features in the trades adds weight to your message and positions you as an industry expert. Opinion pieces in the trades are also an excellent way of showing your industry knowledge and give your company international profile. Thought leadership, panel opportunities are becoming increasingly important, and actually with the pandemic this year, they've been opened out to a much more global audience, which has been really useful. So sitting on panels at key industry events such as KidScreen Summit, Annecy, Children's Media Conference, and of course KingstOOn, not only shows that you're an expert, but it opens multiple opportunities for potential partners to hear you and subsequently contact you if they have a project that might be of interest. Media meetings are key, getting to know the journalists, getting to know their landscape. In a normal world, we would advise using key marketing festivals to sit down with journalists for a relaxed coffee or a drink. Sparing your time to get to know the journalists without expecting column inches often actually results in column inches down the line as they become known to you and you become a trusted expert and spokesperson. Marketing opportunities are much more self-explanatory, and I guess we come across them, in a more day-to-day basis, and they do have their place in the communications mix. Advertising, taking a page in a trade magazine can work really well if you're launching a new show. Sponsoring a session or a badge or a bag at a key industry event will get your name seen and show commitment to the industry. Likewise, flyers and event bags are a great way to get to a mass audience, but in a paperless world, they're becoming a little less attractive. Clever marketing via branded gifts is a nice way to introduce property to key broadcast execs or journalists. And again, when we're all back in the real world and at markets and festivals, dinners and cocktail parties are a really nice way to informally introduce yourselves or your new show to the industry and to buyers. And then there are social media tools, which we'll come on to a little later.
Okay, so we have an idea of how we could potentially use PR and marketing and what they are. Once you've decided they're a good idea, how do you get started? I think the first thing is to spend some time planning what you want to say and who you want to say it to and what you want to achieve by that message. So set yourself some clear goals and make sure that these steer everything that you do. So there's no point spending money if it's not going to add anything to your business success. Spend a bit of time thinking about what makes you stand out. Why should a commissioner or a creative partner, awards body investor, or anyone you're targeting choose you particularly? To know how to clearly describe yourself and your work. And it's important to be honest and believe in what makes you different. You don't need to try and claim to be the next somebody or oversell yourself. Have confidence in yourself and your work and your strengths. I think it helps as well to know the industry and read the trades. Keeping up to speed with trends and timely topics is helpful in lots of ways. They can help you develop new content responding to market trends and what maybe commissioners are looking for. It can help you identify potential collaborators and partners. And it can also help define yourself in the industry. You probably know a lot of these titles already, but sort of started reading the titles that focus on the animation world or Animation Magazine, KidScreen and Cartoon Brew are some ones that we would recommend.
A key to building your global profile is a little bit of housekeeping, actually getting all your promotional materials and tools in place. Initially having a good website, it doesn't have to be amazing, but just having all the basics there. The website mirrors how you are, how you want to be seen, your individual voice and style. So it's really important that is reflective of your PR and marketing materials as well. Take time, think about how you want to be seen, and have that reflected on your website. A balance of business and creative often works really well. Have your elevator pitch ready. Be ready at any moment to sum up your company or project in one sentence. It might be that you just have that 5 minutes where you can sell yourself at any given time. Again, with your boilerplate and pitch deck, make sure it's really reflective of your style and your individuality. Make it comprehensive but pithy, have company information that highlights your business and creative acumen. Just really use it to sell yourselves.
So what about B2B social media? Well, we talked about how it sits alongside publicity and marketing and combines the best of both. And it can be used in a number of meaningful ways. It can help showcase your studio and your work, obviously, but it can also help you engage with peers, industry leaders, and your followers, so you can build your network. And in that sense, it can help you attract partners, talent, interest in what you're doing at the studio. So I think the main thing to note about social media is it's two-way, it's conversational, and it allows you to fully engage with your targets. Some tips to help you stand out. I think first off, understand the use of the different platforms, and then you can tailor your approach accordingly. So you wouldn't create some content for Instagram, for example, that you would use on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for networking. It allows you to post a lot of content. You can really engage with the business community on LinkedIn, and also Twitter as well. Twitter can drive your audience to LinkedIn and vice versa. So those tools can be very well used in a business sense. But obviously we're in a very visual industry. So the likes of Instagram and Pinterest potentially as well are very good for strong visual to really help define you as a studio. I think the other thing to really remember is you need to give people a reason to follow you. So you need to engage with them by offering something interesting. Lots of fresh content drops and conversation. So you can be visual, you can be interactive, you can do some really fun things. You can create interesting collages of things that might inspire you or your work, short videos, memes, GIFs, polls, all the things that really catch the eye and inspire people to click through and find out more. Another thing is be consistent. Make sure that you post regularly. There's nothing looks worse than a dormant business social media account. I also think it's important to elevate your industry knowledge by sharing your insights, any commentary, research or tips. You could, for example, come to KingstOOn and just share with your following some of the insights that you've gleaned there. And that's another reason why people would follow you as a thought leader. But ultimately, just create conversation, engage with the people that follow you, your peers, your industry, and that helps define your voice in a crowded space.
So it's really important to have a think about how you get the best out of your PR agency. The most important thing really is choose your agency carefully. No one size fits all. It's a really crowded marketplace, so choose an agency that understands your ethos and can work well with you. Choose an agency you can work in partnership with, someone ensconced in your business and your industry. You really need them to understand what your goals are and who your target audience is and what you're trying to achieve. Choose an agency that has a presence at all the key industry events. It's the key place to meet people, to go to sessions, find out what's going on. You need your PR agency to be ensconced in the business and knowledgeable. And treat them like an in-house team. We find we are much more effective and successful for our clients, helping them achieve their aims if we're really ensconced in what they're doing, where we're talking at a senior level. We understand what's coming down the pipeline far in advance. We find it's much better for us to then go away and be much more strategic. And that's another key point, is being strategic. Work with your agency so that you can plan a proactive campaign together. To achieve that, you need to make sure you brief your agency thoroughly, let them into the inner circle, trust their advice, and also as a company, you need to understand what PR is and what it can deliver, what it can't, and what you want to achieve from it. If you're very new to doing interviews, get some media training. It's really helpful to learn how to manage media interviews and get your key messages across. There are very different styles needed for written PR, but then also audio and video interviews as well. So it can be really helpful to get some training. And also work with your agency to set reasonable expectations. PR is a long-term investment and it often takes time to build a narrative. But the key to all of it is to maintain communication. Your agency can only work with what you tell them. So keep an open conversation and build a symbiotic relationship with your agency.
So I think in summary, it's just good to remember that PR people are storytellers. They create narratives and they're telling your story. So give them as much material as you can to work with so that they can tell the really best stories about your business. A good PR person will help with that. So they'll analyze the organization, they'll really get under the skin of it, understand what defines you as a studio and find those positive messages and help translate them into stories for you. And on the flip side, when the news is bad, they can help formulate the best response and turn a negative into a positive.
So we just want to say thank you for listening today. We hope it's given you some useful insights into the PR and marketing tools you can use to build global industry awareness of your studio and your projects. We're happy to take any questions you may have.
The sugarcane man represents the Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony, who operated in northern Uganda for more than 2 decades. Although Uganda is at peace today, the region still grieves for the children who were abducted, killed, and the millions who were displaced from their homes. We dedicate this short film to the people of northern Uganda, especially the children. To this day, Joseph Kony still has not been found, and such efforts have been abandoned. But his legacy of loss remains.
Aujourd'hui, les températures sont fraîches, mais vous allez voir, le week-end va nettement surgir.
Now, one of the moments that we all have been waiting for in this conference. Good afternoon, my name is Debbie Bissoon and welcome to the pitch competition of KingstOOn 2021 Animation Conference and Film Festival. This is where we will get to see some of our very own Caribbean animators getting a chance to present their concepts to the world. Exciting stuff, I tell you. Now, for this segment, I will hand you over to the pitch doctor himself, who is really an honorary Jamaican, Mr. Paul Burrows, who will be moderating the pitch competition. Welcome, Paul, or should I say, wagwan, Paul?
Wagwan, Debbie. Well, how was my accent?